Hello there, I'm Steve from Mac84 and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at this mystery You've seen the thumbnail and you probably read the title. Alright, it's an iMac G4. We're going to be looking at an iMac G4. This iMac G4 was released in January of 2002 and it's a radical departure from the previous iMacs in the series, which use a CRT display. Now this of course uses an LCD display, which is very thin, and it's on this lovely arm that can bend down and swivel around, so it gives you a great option if you have different people in your house, like kids and adults, and you want those different viewing angles, or you just want to move the display to show somebody something. I think that's really cool. This was really innovative, and I think this is a beautiful design that Apple chose for this product. As its name implies, this has a G4 processor in it, which gives you a lot more power than the G3 processors in the previous generation of iMacs. That extra processing power lets you do a lot more with your personal computer. This was also at the time where Apple was pitching its digital hub philosophy, where you could take devices like a MP3 player, a personal digital assistant, a digital camera, a digital video camera, and your cell phone, and transfer data to and from your computer, making the iMac your digital hub. The idea here was pretty simple. Basically, the iMac was going to be the go-to between all of these devices, allowing you to connect them wired or wirelessly and transfer data between these devices and your computer and vice versa. So for example, if you have a calendar or some contacts on your computer and you want to share that to say your PDA or your cell phone, you could do that. Or if you wanted to transfer music to your iPod from, say, a CD that you ripped from your iMac, you could do that too. You could also transfer digital photos from your camera or video from your camcorder to your iMac, allowing you to manipulate things, edit them, and organize them. If you had the higher-end SuperDrive model of the iMac, which included a DVD burner, you could even create digital DVDs straight from your video camcorder. All you needed to do was pick up some blank DVDs, and you were making movies. Of course, that's not to say that your iMac G3 couldn't do these things, but the iMac G4 was faster and more efficient at doing these tasks, especially when it came to digital photos and videos. I recently picked this up for a grand total of $35. So that just goes to show you that these things, well, they're not impossible to find, and you could still find them at an affordable price. Big shout out to Retro Fox for giving me the tip on this one. They were at a flea market and saw this, and well, they shared it with me and I just couldn't say no for that price. It did come with some accessories, so let's get those on the table too. Okay, so we have a few accessories that came with this machine. We have the Pro speakers. Now these speakers came with the iMac. They have a very short cable. If you have a pair that has a longer cable, those were actually designed for the PowerMac G4 desktop, although they will work on this machine. But since this set was designed for the G4, the cable is a bit shorter. They'll just barely reach around the back, and then you could have space to spread these out. They do look like they're in pretty darn good condition. A lot of these have the cones deteriorating and stuff like that, but these seem okay. Then we have the power cable. Now this power cable is pretty important because if you don't have this, well, you can't turn on the machine. It isn't as proprietary as it once was. A lot of laptop power adapters now have this cable. It's a little 3-ring cable, kind of looks like a Mickey Mouse there, and it's a 3-prong connector on this end, and that'll allow us to plug in the iMac, which is nice. It is a bit dirty. You can't see that from this angle, but yeah, I don't know if it's sparked or what, but yeah, we'll see if we could clean that up a bit. And then we have the keyboard. Now this is not the original keyboard that came with this machine. Originally it came with a white matching keyboard, but this is a graphite keyboard. I don't know if they purchased it afterwards or whatever, but it has a very long cable. And there are a few revisions to this keyboard. I believe that this is the earlier one, because this would have came with the G4 graphite desktop, and that had a very long cable. As you can see, it's quite long, and this would allow you to go onto the desk, plug it into the machine, etc. Later on, they had shorter cables, and then they would include a extension cable in the box. And that extension cable was a USB cable, but it was keyed, so it would only fit into the keyboard connector here. And yeah, this is not keyed, so this should be okay. There's actually a little damage there, but we could try and fix it up. But anyway, the whole purpose of today is to take a look at this machine, see if it works, and try and clean it up and restore it back into its original working condition. Now sometimes I forget and I test these things well before I clean them up, so the rest of the video shows them looking all dingy and grimy and ugh. So we're going to try and break that habit. We're going to clean this up now. Alright, so we just have some window cleaner, some glass cleaner here, and I'm just going to use that a little bit on The bottom, there's really not much that needs cleaning, but we'll see. Yeah, there's not too much dirt, which is good. You would probably see it better on camera if there was, better than I can in person with all the lights and everything. But yeah, there's a little scuffs here and there. I think the screen has most of the grime on it because there is, you know, the bezel around the screen where people would mostly handle it and bend it down. Looks like there's a bit of a mark above the Apple logo, but nothing too serious. I think the worst of it is just on the screen, especially the front bezel. I'm going to try and get some of those off. I'm not going to be able to do a perfect job here, but it'll make it look a bit better than it was before. And some of this is a little hard because the screen wants to wobble a bit, and you really want to just hold it still. And then we have this scratch here, which goes from the outer bezel to the screen, actually. Hopefully we could get that off. Some of this stuff might be a bit deeper and maybe refusing to come quietly, but we'll keep trying. There's a lot of carbon scoring here. You've seen a lot of action. All right, well, we tried our best to clean it up. I'm not going to spend forever on this. If you have any tips for getting some of these marks off, let me know in the comments section. But I do think it looks pretty good. I mean, for $35, heck, I think it looks awesome. But the real question is it going to turn on? I mean, we could clean this thing all day, but if it doesn't turn on, really, was it worth it? So let's plug it in, and we'll find out that together. Well, I guess we'll use the speakers because it would be a shame not to. Let's see which one is right and left. Oh, they have a little label on here. That's cool. Okay, so this is the right speaker. And that's the one on the left. And it plugs into the special speaker port on the back of the machine. So let's plug in the keyboard. And we will need a mouse. I almost forgot where I put this. This is just your standard Apple mouse, and a similar one came with this machine. There we go. Now I'm going to have that facing me because I'm going to have to navigate this thing, assuming it turns on. So let's get this party started. You think it'll work? I hope it does. If not, it's very pretty paperweight. So let's push that power button. Oh, it would help if it was plugged in. Okay, now let's try and turn it on. Oh, that sounds good. I know you're not hearing it in stereo, but that had an oomph to it. My goodness. All right, so we got the chime. I can hear the fan in the top. Hey, image on the screen. It's not cracked or anything. That looks pretty good. You can see it better than I can because I'm at an angle here. I have a little monitor that I could sort of see it through, but my goodness, it's booting up. I would guess, oh, does this have Tiger on it? Let's see. Looks like Tiger. macOS 10.4. Look at that, right to the desktop. No password or anything. Your computer's clock is set to a date before March 24th, 2001. This may cause some applications to behave erratically. Well, that's okay. So we have, looks like someone dragged some applications directly to the desktop instead of leaving them in the applications folder. But, wow, it turns on, it works. I'm excited. My goodness. Let's see. I'm curious about the specs of this machine. So when I did ask my friend about this machine, they took a picture of the bottom, and the bottom confirms that it's a 700 megahertz model. I believe it originally came with a 40 gigabyte hard drive and 256 megabytes of memory. So let's see if that has been upgraded at all. So I'll go to the Apple menu here, go to About This Mac. Okay, so we're running 10.4.11, and it is a 700 megahertz PowerPC G4 processor, but we have 512 megabytes of memory. So someone did some upgrading. Here we go, 2 memory modules, 256 each. So there's an interesting story about the memory with these machines. There's a memory module that's on the logic board that is not really accessible without taking the whole machine apart. And then there's a bottom plate, a silver plate on the bottom of the machine, that if you remove that, you could access where you would install an airport card and where would you put in another module of memory. But I believe it's laptop-sized memory, where on the top of the machine, well, this part, where it's much harder to get into, there's a full desktop SIM there. So yeah, that's interesting that they actually upgraded the memory. And oh, we do have an airport card too. It's picking up my networks, which it can't connect to, because this is only an 802.11b card. And if I wanted to, I could turn on an older Apple router and have it connect to that. But we're not going to be bothering with that today. I am just very surprised that this thing turned on. I mean, we do have that bit of a scratch here on the screen, but you can't really see it, especially from the angle I'm at. It looks very nice. This looks like a pretty clean install of the Mac OS. If I go to the applications folder, it does look like some of these apps, because they're on the desktop, they were pulled out from here. Yeah. So let's put those back. System preferences was on the desktop along with Sherlock. Oh, the speaker sounds so good. We do have a shortcut for internet connection. Now, this was an interesting app that if you ever used dial-up on the early Mac OS 10 days, you're familiar with this. But you basically had little tabs here for your modem or airport or whatever you were using, and that helped you connect to the internet. So we have the internal modem here. We have the airport card, which is installed, so it's recognizing that. It would give you the signal level on a more detailed basis than what the little menu bar would provide. But you could also configure VPN stuff in here. And basically, if your internet connection was not a local area network where you just plug in, you would likely have to go to either the network system preference or the Internet Connect panel, and that would help you out. So we're just going to close that, but I assume maybe this computer was used with some dial-up, or maybe it was just being set up to have somebody use dial-up with it. We have a pretty stock install here. It looks pretty okay. We do have some folders on the desktop. Looks like some Windows Media videos, a copy of iTunes 10, and a Mac OS 10 combo update for Leopard. Well, that's not going to work here. Maybe they were trying to update it to Leopard and they didn't know you had to do a full install from the operating system disk. But anyway, this machine is in pretty darn good shape. All right, so I'm on this side of the table so you can get a better look at the screen, and so could I. But this machine is pretty much up and running now, so what am I going to do with it? Well, I guess I could call some friends to ask for some help. Hey, Sean?
Hello.
I hope I didn't interrupt you.
No, I was dressed like this.
Oh, all right. Well, I got this iMac G4 here, and it turns on and everything, but I'm not really quite sure what to do with it. Do you have any advice?
Yes, you should install Linux on it, of course.
Guess I don't need this thing on here anymore. All right, well, let's see if Dan, the Canadian computer collector, has any advice. Hey, Dan. So thank you very much for taking this call. I got this G4 iMac, and I just don't know what to do with it. You got any ideas?
G4 iMac, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what you do. You break it down, part it out. You take the neck bone, logic board, RAM, seals, screws, everything you can find. Throw it all in a pot, a little bit of fresh water, some of that Old Bay seasoning. You got a stew going, brother.
All right, well, I appreciate your advice there. Thanks, Dan. All right, let's see if the Mac Yak guys will make any more sense. Hey guys, I just got this iMac G4. So, what do I do with it?
Play Unreal Tournament.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the advice, guys. Well, thankfully, the Mac Yak guys gave me some good advice, so I will be installing Mac OS 9 on this computer. It does not have it there already, because if I go to System Preferences, you'll see that if I click on the Startup Disk panel here, it's only going to find macOS 10.4.11. There is no Mac OS 9 folder on here. So we'll install Mac OS 9 and then see if we can play some games on this thing. Oh, look at that happy Mac. All right, come on. You can do it. Maybe. Ah, the setup assistant. Okay, sure, go ahead and try. Not right now. I'm not ready for the internet. So we're running macOS 9.2.2. We have our 512 megabytes of memory, and it seems to be working fine. Ooh, we have iMovie, I think. Ah, this is so cool. It's the first version of iMovie I ever used. We're not going to make a movie now. Maybe later we'll come back to this with a DV camcorder or something. That might be fun. Let me know if you want to see a video like that in the comments section. This virtual CD DVD-ROM utility is great. You can find it on Macintosh Garden. And what's nice is you could launch and mount ISO images or toast images without too much trouble. There we go. So we have our Unreal Tournament game ISO mounted. And we could install this. It's going to be much faster installing it this way than from the CD. At least I hope. We'll do a full install here. Okay, great. And there is a patch for this game to bring it up to spec with the latest version of things. So let's install that. All right, let's see if this game actually runs. Okay, Rave should be okay. I think this has an NVIDIA 32 megabyte video card in here, if I'm not mistaken. And so this should run pretty well. This opening video is always so dark. All right. Sitting at like 60 frames per second. I mean, we're running this on a G4 with a pretty good graphics card, so only at 640 by 480, I think. This should fly. Oh yeah, this plays fine. Let's change the resolution a little bit. Let's go to 1024 by 768. Really push this poor thing. Oh yeah, this is not going to be easy. Let's make it a little bit brighter. Actually, still running at a respectable 30, 40, 45 frames per second. Awesome. Looks beautiful too. This is running pretty well. I mean, it's only a small map with just the two of us on a G4, but hey, pretty cool. Of course, having the one-button mouse is not helping me. Oh, I forget the button for the secondary fire. It's a control? No. Is it option? I think it's option. You could check the controls, Steven, but that would only make sense. Yeah, it's option. Alright, so you've seen me play that a billion times. Alright, let's see if this DVD I made actually works. This is some weird sort of Inception stuff here.
Hello there, I'm Steve from Mac84, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about
macOS 9 got a bit choppy there.
starting your journey into the vintage Apple Macintosh community. I get so many questions and messages asking what computer would be the best to pick.
Yeah, Playback is a little bit but that's macOS 9. Let's do present video on screen. And click play.
Or how to transfer files to an older system, or what's the best use for an older Mac. Sadly,
Yeah, we could skip through this. This guy's videos are way too long. Whoa, what happened with the audio? Oh god, this is cursed. Okay, we're back in macOS 10.4 Tiger. Let's see if it'll play this DVD any better than it did in macOS 9. I have a feeling it might. Well, it stuttered there for a second, but let's see if we could skim through the video a bit better. We could go in slow motion. That's pretty cool. We could scan backwards. That seems to work okay. We could also fast forward. It works well. So who says you can't run YouTube on an old G4 iMac? You just got to get the video file, download it, transcode it to an MPEG-2 DVD, burn the disc, put the disc in the disk drive, open the DVD player app, and press play. It's just that simple. All kidding aside, this looks pretty darn well. Of course, it is a DVD, it is standard definition, but on this display, which is a 4:3 aspect ratio, you know, it looks fine. There is some letterboxing here. I think you could actually zoom in on this if we want to upset everybody who loves aspect ratios, including myself. Let's see. I think there's an option here. Yeah, video zoom. It's thinking about it. There we go. You turn it on, and I think there's an auto, widescreen movie. There we go. So it will do a little bit of a crop there, but it will retain the aspect ratio. Let's see if I remember the keyboard command to hide the controller here. There we go, Command Option C. But yeah, that doesn't look half bad for a standard definition DVD playing on a 2002 computer with only half a gigabyte of memory. I'll say it before and I'll say it again, macOS 10 10.4 is an awesome operating system. The iMac G4 is a worthy successor to the iMac G3, and that's saying something because that was a wildly popular computer. This machine is beautiful. I love the design of it. Did you ever have one of these? Did you see it in a classroom or at a place you worked, or did your parents have one? Let me know in the comments section because there were a few models of these. There was the original 15-inch model. They later came out with a 17-inch widescreen model, all the way up to a massive 20-inch widescreen model. So these machines are quite iconic and they're quite powerful too. Sadly, the iconic design of this machine would only stick around for one generation. The iMac G5 and the Intel iMac went to a flatter slab look, which more looks like your common LCD displays of today. However, this thing still looks beautiful in my eyes, and I think it's really a striking example of industrial design in the early 2000s. And really, for a machine of its age, it's no slouch. That G4 processor is pretty quick. As long as you load appropriate programs of the time on there, give it a little bit more memory, I think this thing will sing. I hope you enjoyed looking at this beautiful iMac computer here today. I think you'll agree that I got a pretty good deal on it. If you want to see more computers like this, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, my handle is Mac84TV. You could also support me on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You get behind-the-scenes extras and early previews of videos that you simply can't get anywhere else. But that's about it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you right here next time on Mac84.